her brain development. So by her already being born with autism, with having the lead poisoning, it slowed her brain development and caused other issues as well, like cognitive delay and stuff like that. So,
Gotcha,
mhm.
gotcha. That was in Germany, you said, right?
That was in Germany, yes.
Oh man. Okay. Well, I don't know if you want to start off the questions. I mean, so this month is a celebration of Autism Month, Awareness Month, and of course, we have a lot of questions, and I got questions too. Do you want do an opening and kind of like tell your story now, or do you want to ask some questions at now?
Um,
And
I
Carla
guess.
can start it off if you want to.
Say that again.
Say it again.
Carla, you can start it off a little bit if you want to tell a little bit, her journey, and then she can kind of
Okay.
jump in.
So with autism, can y'all hear me good?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. So with autism, it's a unique experience for each person that is autistic, of course. We don't know all the details. Everybody's not going to know all the answers and things like that. So it's a journey, actually. And most people are born with it, and it's normally well, I won't say normally because this is 28 years ago. She's 28
Mm,
years old. So they say normally around the age of 2, but
2 years old. Okay.
yeah, but they said normally at the age of 2 you can usually tell definitely. But some people know as soon as a couple of months old if their child
Mm.
is autistic.
It says here it's usually diagnosed within the first 3 years of life, pretty much.
Yes,
Yeah. Okay.
yes. So hi, I'm Brenda. Hi, Mom. Thank you for supporting and joining. So with Ariel's journey, she was born in Germany. She was born in Landstuhl, Germany, and we had a lot of issues when I was pregnant. And then
Mm,
after my pregnancy and after she was born, we noticed more issues. But it wasn't until she was around like about 2 years old,
okay.
and I started doing military daycare, and I started having other kids from daycare come over, and they were different. They were all, talking, and they were all doing certain things. Where Ariel, she wasn't talking. She didn't talk until she was 4.5 years old, and
Mm,
it was just gibberish. It was just like, and they would tell us they came over, they did like assessments of her. The it was called EFMP at the time. I don't know if you remember that or not, Floyd. EFMP,
yeah.
Exceptional Family Member Program. They
Yeah.
came over and they did some assessments. They were saying what they thought, but they weren't sure. But by her bouncing around, with military, is a blessing and a curse. She went to 9 different schools. She's gone through so many assessments, losing things in travel, like records and stuff like that. She was able to mask a lot of things.
Gotcha.
So when she got to the point where she was supposed to go to school once we got back to the States, they said, well, she's not talking. She has the she's functioning like an 18-month old child at 4 years old. But
Mm,
she's doing genius things like putting together like 1,000-piece puzzles and
wow.
doing like she was potty trained. She potty trained herself, but thank you. By the time she was a year old, she had potty trained herself. She was already potty trained. She was doing like everything that other kids couldn't do, like
Gotcha.
her age, but she just was not talking.
Mm,
Or I would give her like instructions like, Ariel, go get the red ball under the bed. Where Ariel would go to the bed and just be like, what what's after that? It's like
mm,
processing certain, information and stuff like that. So also when she went to church, or like if she was in like certain situations, she's very when it comes to noise, like her
mhm,
senses are like heightened. When it comes to noises, when it comes to bright lights, when it comes to certain things, it she gets really overwhelmed. You
mm.
know, like me, if I would get overwhelmed as a child, like, oh my God, it's so noisy in here or whatever in church, my mom would have been like, you be quiet. Sit down.
Mm,
You're supposed to listen to it. But with her, it was like excruciating, like, oh my God. And we took her to Disney World. And I
mm,
remember going to Disney World and there was like the fireworks and all the kids were excited. There was fireworks. And Ariel was just like cringing and like, oh my God, like I'm so scared and like, crying. And she would have like a lot of meltdowns. And the meltdowns a lot of times were hard to understand because it's like, as a parent, it's like, what you meltdown for? You at Disney, B? You know?
mm,
So, and we laugh at it now, and we make light of it now. But then it was
mm,
just like, dang, like as a mother, me thinking back as a mother, I'm like, I wish I knew more.
mm.
Um, so I've begun to, well, I've been in parent support groups, and we've been to like different places, and you know, I want her to, be able to feel okay and function as she needs to function.
Yeah.
Because what I mean, really, what is normal? You know what I mean?
Mm,
There's
mhm,
always going to be a lot of judgmental people out here. There's a lot of people that are living with autism that don't even know that they have autism. You know
mm.
what I mean?
Yes, yes.
And it's not a bad
Agree.
word. And
No,
that's
no,
the
no,
thing
no.
that we want to get away from is that autism is like, okay, back then it was like, oh, she ain't right, she retarded, or she this, or she that. You know what I mean? But Ariel graduated with honors. She was
Wow.
in the National Honor Society.
Mm,
She um, she's finished 5 years of college.
mhm.
I'm very proud of her. Sometimes she doesn't give herself enough credit, and um, a lot of times her confidence level is affected by society.
Gotcha.
So it's hard, as a parent too, to be like, but society.
Mm,
You gotta,
mm,
you gotta do you. You gotta, where do you want to be? What is it?
mm.
And there's something that, when it comes to my child, I want her to do something that she's happy with doing and not something that I've set up for her to do, you
Gotcha.
know, because a lot of people be like, you're going to be a doctor and that's it. Well, Ariel wanted to be a doctor in the beginning,
Yeah.
and she started going to school to be a doctor, and she was in pre-med, and she realized, well, dang, I got to go through all this. She was there.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
all
yeah.
of this to become a medical examiner? Like, I'm a medical examiner. They
Yeah,
not gonna
yeah.
talk back to me, But she had to go through like the residency. She had to, she would have to go
Yeah.
through. Um, she don't know where she would have been as far as like she could have been in like OB, or she could have been with so many different parts of the medical field before she became a medical examiner, because that was something
Yeah.
that she had to do.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it's just like, no, I'm not. I don't want to do it. So she changed her major, and
Mhm.
I'm very supportive of it. So we're doing this thing, right, baby?
Um,
We're gonna ride till the wheels fall off. Body say it.
so I
So
mean, so there are early signs that you mentioned, and
yes,
let me go through a list of it and tell me that it fit a little bit. A lack of delay development in spoken language you talked about. Repetitive. Was there any repetitive use of language or motor mannerisms like
yes,
hand flipping or twirling or uh,
yes. She used to she would some kids do flapping. You'll see some kids when they flap or whatever,
yeah,
when they
yeah,
get
yeah.
excited. Well, Ariel would do something like that, but she would favor like one side of her foot. She would like be on her left foot, and she would tip all the
Mm,
time. A lot of times she would
uh,
tip in a circle, and she loved music. She had no other choice but to love music because her mom and her daddy loved
I
music.
wonder why you love music. We
That's
all
my
know. Yeah,
special
yeah,
interest, actually.
Yeah,
yeah.
that's
I
her
never
stuff.
had a restricted interest is music and anime.
Yeah,
DJ, yeah, and it helped
yes,
with your dad being a DJ and MC, and your mom being an MC also. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
And she would, I noticed she would put on her headphones, and she would
mm,
walk in a circle. She would
mm,
walk in a circle and listen to music, and she would do it for like a long time.
wow,
Or she would do we talk about some of the things. I thought it was really cute though. I always thought it was cute. She would
mm,
take like French fries, like a whole thing of McDonald's French fries.
yeah, yeah,
She would take a pack of ketchup, And on each French fry, you know how we would dip our French fries mainly? We'll put the ketchup and maybe dip it. But she would, on each individual French fry, she put a line of ketchup. So she needed
What?
ketchup because she would put a line of ketchup on each French
Mm,
fry. Like
mm,
she's very meticulous. My mom said she was a robot one time,
mm.
but
That's
Not
a
a monk,
crazy.
not a monkey though. Not a monkey in the tree.
not a monkey, not but she
Inside
said,
joke. This is an
and
inside
that's an
joke.
inside joke, definitely. But she was so routine with everything. And I
Gotcha.
just thought she was a great kid, period. You know what I mean?
Mhm,
But she was so routine with everything where she would get up, she would make up her bed. After she make up her bed, she would get
mm,
ready for school. She would be ready for school before you would be ready to take her. She would have her breakfast. She was very routine. In the
mm,
evening, when she came home from school, she would come home from school. She would have a snack. She would do her homework, and then she would go straight to like either TV or whatever she loved to do. And then at a certain time every night, she would always take a shower every night, and she would always go to bed. She did that for many years, the whole time she was in high school. I mean, not high school, but school, period,
oh,
by
period. Yeah.
herself.
Yeah.
So she was very routine where some kids you'd have, get in the bed, do this, do that. I never had to do that. So
Wow.
some of my friends would say to me, they would be like, well, what happened when Ariel did this? Did Ariel do that? And I'm just like, no, she didn't do that. Or
Mm,
one of my friends said, I couldn't wait for Ariel to get into high school so I could see how she would behave in high school. You know how people
mm.
get in high school and they start to misbehave and they do this and that.
Yeah.
And I was just like, no, she's fine.
Mhm,
She come home, she would do the same thing, you know.
mm,
Senior year, she was a tutor. She ended up tutoring a master tutor for like geometry. She
mhm.
had like, a stellar performance in high school. Um, yeah, so she did the damn thing, like
Well, yeah.
from an early age. But there were signs. There were a lot of signs, and me,
Mm,
my
mm.
background before I got into IT, my background was working with kids with special needs.
Yeah.
Working with kids with special needs, I saw her special needs where her dad, which is a great dad, I don't
Mm,
take anything from him. He was just like, well, maybe she's just, doing, something different, or she's excelling at
yeah.
her
Yeah.
pace. I was like, there's something there, but I didn't know what it was. It wasn't until one of our therapists said to me, Carla, she said, I have a question for you. And she said, I don't know how to ask you this, but just to come out, I said, well, rip off the band-aid, because that's what we do here. So she said,
Mm,
did you not tell me, is Ariel on the spectrum? And when she
gotcha.
said that, I was like, shit. And
Maybe,
I was
yeah.
thinking, I was like, wait a minute. So we ended up going through this whole like assessment, like over again
Gotcha.
with neurologists
Mhm.
and all kinds of like, because there's no real test. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Just signs that, uh
Yeah.
uh, people who had autism, who are diagnosed with autism, had signs before, and that's normally, if these all fit, then these signs would be, oh, there might she or he might be in the spectrum of
Yes.
Asperger or autism, right?
Yes.
So I
So
mean,
it's
they give a lot of like list of caregivers and parents, and like I said, there's not really a test, but they ask you all these questions, right? Like, do you have a hard time looking at people eye to eye? Do you have tantrums? The language usually is a good sign where you don't start to speak until like later in years, right? For you said
yes.
for Ariel was like 4 or 5, right?
Yeah,
Um,
so back to that is she didn't have like her eye contact had always been off. It's like a lot
mm,
of signs that I did miss, as a young mother, I did miss, but then there's other things that I did pick up on, and I was just like, wait a minute, something ain't right. So
mhm.
then, um, like I said, with the Exceptional Family Member Program, they pointed a lot of stuff out to me and said, she's cognitive delayed, she's this, she's
Yeah.
that, she's this, she's that. And then they said possibly autistic, which was in the records, but I don't remember
Spectrum.
them ever telling me that.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? They said,
Gotcha.
and that's the military for you. So it's just that putting up, the money and going to like the civilian doctors, and
Mm-mm.
it was a journey. But and then Ariel's also been very, one thing about autistic, well, Ariel's autistic side,
Spectrum. Yeah.
um, her being very sick, it was hard to really know how sick she really was until
Gotcha.
she ended up in like ICU. So she like
Mm,
had a high tolerance for pain, and it was hard to tell whether she was in, pain, or hard to tell. She'd just be like, "Mommy, I don't feel good. I'm hurting." Then I take her
mm,
temperature. Your your temperature's 105 degrees. You know what I mean?
mm,
So it was always been like she's always been worse off when she tells me that she's not feeling good, and then blood work comes.
mm,
It's like, well, how does she not know that? She has like a high threshold for pain, sometimes.
mm.
But then she has her fears and stuff like that too.
Gotcha. Did they give you like a legend? I mean, I'm pretty sure you went like through a list. They have like a legend of like COS, C for communications. These are
Mhm.
like symptoms and signs that they may be in the spectrum or with autism. And then O for obsessive compulsive behavior, and then S for like social. And I think with the social, that's a lot of people we know. That are like
Yeah.
kind of awkward around
Yes.
people, around social gatherings. I mean, that's a lot of people, and they
Yeah.
still are able to work and move on, but they're always kind of awkward in social communication with people.
Yes.
But probably great writers, great at their work, great doctors, great lawyers, even great artists and music and all that. But they fall within that they call it spectrum versus
Right.
like the obvious signs, of obsessive compulsive behavior, where the people rocking
Mhm.
back and forth. And
We can't hear you,
and-
Floyd.
you hear me? Oh, sorry.
We can't hear
What,
you.
Oh,
can
Your
I
you hear
can
me now?
hear
mic shut
him.
off.
I can hear him okay.
Can you hear me now?
Your mic.
I can
No.
Floyd, I can hear you.
Oh, okay.
Can you hear
Um,
him, Anthony?
mm,
Yeah.
You can hear him. Okay, so we can't hear y'all. What's going on,
hold up,
Doris?
you can't hear us at all.
Hold on a second.
Can y'all hear me?
I can hear you, Anthony.
Yeah, but we can hear them. They just can't hear us.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So I'm not sure what's going on.
Everybody can hear
Yeah,
us.
we can hear everybody else.
We can hear you now.
Okay,
Okay.
So,
okay.
Oh,
So
DJ
what's
so
B
the whole
just
Floyd,
coming
point?
in messing up stuff. Gotcha.
Yeah, right.
so Floyd, do you remember the time that you DJ'd for Ariel's birthday party when we were in Japan?
Yeah.
Okay, so that was a good example too. You were probably in there DJing, but she was out there having a meltdown in front of all her friends, and that was another thing that was
Ooh,
a telltale sign. She was
yeah.
having like she had a lot of meltdowns and stuff like that. But like
Gotcha.
at the actual birthday party, she had one as well.
Nice, nice. Thank you, MC. We can hear each other. But yeah, I mean, these are the things that even I didn't know, and maybe parents out there, even with people who are older now, like, man, this makes sense. It puts everything in perspective of like, where it's very definitive, like, oh, you do have Asperger, or you do have autism, versus like now there's a spectrum, and you look at the kids and you look at each other, look at your wife, you look at your husband, you look at your ex, bruh, you're in the
There's
spectrum.
there's five different forms of like autism.
So what's the
Um,
difference between autism and Asperger?
well, I mean, it's still the same thing, but
Mm,
the support group that I go to
hmm.
is they no longer want to call it Asperger's anymore, or no longer want to call anything like high functioning or
Yeah, yeah,
anything like that, especially because maybe because the kids that are or adults that are nonverbal or whatever, they're all autistic, but some of them that are actually nonverbal, it's kind of like a shot to them, like, okay, so are you better than me? You know what I mean? Maybe that's what it
gotcha.
is. But it's like kind of autism is autism now, and they just call it ASD, or autism spectrum disorder. So I'm okay with that. I mean, I get it,
I feel
but
like with Asperger is more of a spectrum, you know. Um,
mhm.
versus autism, you can see physical, obsessive disorder, that that you may do that was, oh yeah, that's more autism, versus Asperger is maybe social speech patterns, the way they talk to people, the way they avoid people, the way they just can't read the crowd, they can't read, like, that's like everybody. Yeah.
Well, yeah,
So
it's
is there treatments, Ariel? Was there treatments that helped you, or are they presented
Can't
for you?
really, you can't treat autism. It's like they suggest therapy, going to therapy, and like
Mm,
sometimes medications don't really help either. It
yeah, yeah.
depends on your type of autism. Like for me, I've been on a ton of medication and psychiatrists and stuff, but they were treating like the wrong thing, basically focusing on depression and anxiety, which is stuff that I also have, but
Mhm.
they didn't know about the main thing, which is me being autistic.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I got that diagnosis when I was like 25.
Mm,
So by that time, I've been through like a lot of like medication trial error, and decided just to be off of it because I was
yeah, yeah,
better without it.
yeah.
yeah.
So
They
what
have
are
put her.
what are
She.
they
We were
trying to
talking
treat?
about this to my brother that they have put her on a. They put her on an antipsychotic medication. They put her
Um,
on. I mean, she could name like all kinds of medication they put her on, but like the neurologist was saying, what are you treating? Because you're not treating autism. You can't treat autism. So she was on this one medication that she gained like 30 pounds in a month. So that's just like
mm,
adding stress where she's used to being one way, and that's adding more stress to things when you don't know exactly what you're treating. And so
yeah.
the psychiatrist realized it, and she didn't know exactly what she was treating. She said she's so resistant. Well, she's not resistant, she's autistic. So
Yeah.
you're treating something that can't be really treated.
Mm. Coach Anthony, do you have a question?
No, like you already, Carl already answered it, which is like you're not treating the the person. Like you're trying to fix one thing, but actually introducing so many other things in the process.
Mhm.
Because I'm like, it's almost as if you're trying to change the way that somebody sees the world and functions in the world. And it's like, well, what is normal? What goes back to what your normal question was in the beginning.
Yeah, yeah.
And to see how people or scientists are trying to figure out a way, other there's like a magical pill or process that could actually solve something that is the way how people see the world. And just
Mhm.
to kind of bring up an example of one of the guys that I interviewed who started a whole business around it, they actually created a 3D environment, a virtual reality realm where their child who's autistic was able to kind of express themselves in a 3D world, pretty much build the environment that they see and how they see the world. And so he decided to use that as his way to communicate with his son, because for the longest he wouldn't speak. And so that's what they were utilizing, and
Mhm.
to kind of have that. They're actually located in Philly. The
Mm.
company is called Helodeck, uh, and what they do is just do all
What's it
3D and
called?
Helodeck. I think it's called
Okay.
Helodeck. He. I think it's each Helodeck. I have to find it.
Okay.
Virtual.
Yeah, just tell me
But
the
yeah,
name.
yeah. Oh, Sorry, it's Holodeck. HOLODECK. Uh, it's in Philadelphia.
So it's
But
like a virtual world.
yeah, so what he does is he allows people to who also have autism to come in and kind of talk about his process on how he was
Mm,
communicating with his son, and also how people can actually communicate with their children as well.
mm,
Uh, and going through that process, he actually does a lot of other things because it's virtual reality.
mm,
You actually get to play around and get to see, go on dates on where people didn't go on dates before and like actually get to see other people's
Oh.
hometowns and stuff like that. So he opened it up to other people, but ultimately it started all because of his son. And I did a full interview with him to kind of talk about that, but it just kind of gets you to think of like, what are you actually treating? And what do you really see in how you see the world? Because to me, I mean, you don't want to see what my thoughts be thinking about every day. But I guess and that's one of the things is like, how do you interact? Like, what do you say when you're in certain areas and stuff like that?
So, Eric, do you agree now that, I mean, it's maybe past 20 years, 30 years where autism is like the descriptive word of like, oh, you might be spectrum or you might Asperger. And now they started treating with different medicines and treatments, and that didn't work, that there. So everything is very custom to the individual. But do we now want to agree where it's more of like, how do you communicate? What makes you not communicate? And how, you know what I'm saying? So it's actually for us too, to like, and for you, but also for us. So how do we talk to you? How do we get the information from you in order for you to be comfortable talking to me or us or we or them, you know? So it's more of like just kind of figuring out how to communicate to each other versus like, hey, here's another pill. Here's another pill that may help make you feel normal. Versus like just saying, okay, Ariel, what makes you tick? You know, what makes you communicate more, and how can your mom and dad talk to you? You know what I'm saying? Do you think that's a better treatment versus like, popping all those pills and medicine?
Yeah, like I follow this autism page as well, and like one of the posts is like stating like just understand us rather than try to like cure us or treat like something
Exactly.
that's just us. Like
Yeah.
yeah, the main thing is just understanding us,
Yeah.
accepting who we are.
Yeah, I think that's where we're leading into. I mean, we were talking now. And now we have a lot of movies is sharing those awareness, TV shows. Have you watched that TV show of that the good patient or
The
the
good
good
doctor.
doctor?
Doctor,
Good
yeah.
doctor,
It's been a while, but yeah.
right? Because he was on the spectrum too, right? Good doctor. What was it?
Yes.
Yeah, he was brilliant.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Like the other version of Doogie Howser, pretty much.
Yeah.
Do
Yeah.
you think do you think Doogie Howser had like a spectrum or Asperger?
I'm not sure, but there's some notable celebrities that are on the spectrum. Elon
Yeah,
Musk and
yeah.
remember the guy from Prison Break,
Whitmore from Miller.
Yeah.
Wentworth Miller.
Well, I've got like 19 famous people we can share in a minute. I'll talk about the celebrities. But well, honestly, let's Ariel. I want to know, like, when did you know, like, man, there's something different, like, or I'm different.
Um,
When you were like
that's kind of hard.
fully aware. Was there
I
a
think I know.
moment? Yeah, a moment, a time, or
She trying to answer Floyd.
I'm sorry.
I think I noticed as I got older, maybe around well, definitely in college. That was really tough.
Yeah, college was really tough for her. Listen, so I'm gonna just be real.
I mean, she is right
My
there.
baby was like, yo, she was like I said, National Honor Society. She was in like the honors wing. She was like in AP classes. I mean, all of that.
Yeah.
Like I didn't have no AP class. She brought home the AP thing. I was like, well, what is an AP class?
What's an AP class? What the
Placement, and why did they want? They went to an advanced placement class. Okay, cool. My baby's smart. I don't know. No, but so with that being said, she did so well, and so when she went to college, it was a big setback in a way. Am I right? It's a big setback because she toured so many schools. She got accepted into like quite a few schools. She got accepted into Hopkins.
What?
she ended up on a wait list for Loyola, believe it or not.
Okay. Okay.
Like,
Okay.
so, but she got accepted into like quite a few schools, and then she ended up. She wanted to go to a private school. She wanted to go to Stevenson, which
Yeah.
is a private school. She felt like the classes were smaller, blah blah blah. And I was like, well, the first year you got to stay on campus. Mommy didn't stay on campus or nothing like that. I just kind of took classes.
Mm,
So it's not living through her, but I just thought it would be like a great experience for her. I'm
yeah.
an
Yeah.
empty nester now, but she was 40 minutes away. So Ariel was home every weekend.
Mm,
And I knew she called me one time. She said, Mom, I got to get out of here. They're having a bonfire. And it was
wow.
homecoming weekend. And I'm thinking, like, man, Carla would have been like, bonfire, hey, hey. But no, Ariel was like, come get me. They're noisy. They're in the hallway. They're doing this and they're doing that. She cannot take noise. Ariel,
Gotcha.
she has to have Zen for the most part. She cannot take a lot of noise unless it's like
Mm,
her music and her. So it was a lot to deal with. And then of course, she didn't understand what was going on. Her roommates then, well, she had her own suite, and she had suite mates on the other side that were noisy. Well, not even noisy, they were just being college kids. You know what I
gotcha.
mean?
Gotcha.
But it was we all didn't understand it. You know what I
Mm,
mean? And it really, she went through a really, really tough time. So it caused her to fall back.
mm, mm.
Hey, Keisha. Keisha's here from Germany, and
Hey, Germany.
listen, Keisha was Ariel's first babysitter. And,
What? Welcome, Keisha.
and she's in Germany right now, I do believe.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, thank
So,
you, Keisha, for joining.
going back, Ariel, you really didn't feel any different until you went to college. You said,
Yeah, I think that
like, you didn't realize,
I
right?
noticed like differences
And
before in schooling,
dances, yeah, dance and stuff.
Mm,
like doing like extracurricular activities. Like
yeah. Yeah.
I kind
Yeah.
of forced myself to do that for college, and I
Yeah.
always just felt weird, like going to
Gotcha.
club activities. Like it was hard for me to
Fit in.
yeah, I did like a lot of masking, which is like
Mm,
basically autistic traits,
yeah.
just
Yeah.
to feel like I fit in a bit more.
Mhm.
Yeah. 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 Wow, that's incredible. Like to know, so like in our minds, like we can see it, but you feel like, oh, this is normal to me because that's just the way I deal with things, the way I see things, the way I communicate. But you didn't know until you're around other pretty much young adults saying like, oh man, I feel different. Like I don't understand why I feel this way. Everybody's
Yeah.
having a good time or everybody's doing what they need to do. I'm just having a difficult time with this specific activity and all that. Um, was there, like you said, you pushed through? Were there things like, I acknowledge this is hard for me, and now I have to deal with it? Like you had to push yourself. You said masking, but was there something that helped you to, like, I'm gonna get through this activity?
Um, trying to think. I guess like just informing myself more on autism and like
Mm,
other people on the spectrum too, knowing that it's not just me.
gotcha, gotcha.
Uh,
So it made you feel like, man, it's not just me, it's a lot of people in this world that has the same symptoms, and you just
yeah,
have to
it
push through.
varies with symptoms and stuff. Like
Yeah.
it's not going to be exact same, but we
Mm,
do share a lot of similarities depending on.
yeah.
It really depends on the individual, and it's still like a lot of like unknowns with autism. It's still developing really, and that's why like there's still a lot of misdiagnoses and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
Women, it's harder to diagnose because our symptoms are not as like obvious compared to men on the
Mhm.
spectrum.
Yeah, yeah.
And then
Now
if you're really like an introvert and really quiet, because Ariel tends to be more of an introvert,
Mhm.
it's really hard to. Hi, Angel. Yeah.
Do you find, I know you've been researching about autism and the symptoms and all the research papers that are going through. Do you find that, is there a disparity between men and women? Like who gets it more? Are there more female, more male?
I mean, at one time, based on history, it's like people believe it was just men, and
Mm,
it's mostly men that got autism. But then they're finding out like, oh, women can get it too, and they're finding more cases with women. And it's like, okay, we need to look out for them more. So
yeah, 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 yeah. And are there groups where you have other people that have autism that you guys like talk and do activities together?
um, I haven't done the group yet. I'm aware of one. I just need to like, see how it is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
me personally, as a parent, um, I'm in a group and it meets every month. Um, so there are a lot of groups out there, and I try to
Mm,
educate myself as much as possible. Dorsey
yeah.
tries to educate himself as much as possible. And I mean, it's um, it's ongoing, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it doesn't even matter at this point where it came from. It's
Mm-mm.
that we're addressing it where it's at. We can
Yes.
say family this, it runs in the family, it's this or this, that, or whatever. But I mean, even if it does, we know and we're addressing it where it's at right now. And if Ariel decides to have kids, when she told me, she told me long ago. She looked at me one day and she said, "You will never be a grandmother."
Oh my God.
I was like, "Oh,
Never.
okay."
Yeah,
Okay.
boys are ugly and they stink.
All right.
They got cooties.
Yeah. So let's say this now that now that awareness is out there, and you're seeing a lot more people diagnosed with the spectrum and Asperger, and you have celebrities and music artists and even politicians and scientists and doctors. Would you rather that, say you start working and first time in employment, and you tell them or they know that you have autism? Is that something you want to keep secret, or do you want to, or keep private? I'm sorry. Or would
It's
you rather be upfront about it?
it's really up to the person, but I think I I would make it known.
Mm,
Just um, I got blanking
Yeah,
out.
that's
yeah.
okay. So Ariel she's worked, and she's still working,
Yeah.
but and she's a work in progress. So when she did,
Just like the rest of us.
yeah. So
We all
when
are.
she did work outside of the home, she
Yeah.
worked at Home Sense and Owings Mills. And let me tell you, every time I walked in there as a mother, now it was grown. I walked in there as a mother. They were like, "Wow, these young kids have nothing on Ariel. She is this, and she is that, and she has great work ethic, and she's
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
respectful, and she's
Yeah.
so this
Yeah.
and so that." So they didn't know that she was autistic
Mm,
then, at the job that she was working at. Did they?
yeah.
Yeah, because that's before my
Yeah.
diagnosis.
Yeah.
Before we knew really.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
they didn't know, but I mean, it's
Yeah.
up
No.
to her how she wants to handle things.
Yeah. So,
She's go ahead.
so as a for all of us here who are like supervisors or directors, is that something HR would have to keep private, or is that like an individual thing where the employee can say, "Oh yeah, you can tell people that I have autism"?
Yeah, it's something
To me, this is like that's a fine line because
yeah,
just
Yeah.
like people who are on a spectrum, everybody's different. But at the same
Mm,
time, people that don't know about it and you explain it to them, they could be different as well. Some people might not understand it. And then,
yeah.
but then
Yeah.
at the same time, some might understand it and then try to treat her differently or try to baby her or anything like that, which is disrespectful to her.
Oh, I see.
Look, she's like, look, I'm grown. I can function just like anybody else. There's
Yeah.
certain things that I agree with, certain things that I don't agree with. But at the
Yeah.
same
Yeah. Yeah.
time, but to treat her like she has a handicap, which she doesn't. I
Mm,
mean, she just thinks differently, and there's
yes.
nothing wrong
Yeah.
with that.
Yeah.
she
Yeah.
processes
It's just
information
different.
differently.
Yeah.
Like sometimes she'll be like, kind of coming in, and I always encourage her to let me know, like if I'm saying something to her, let's break it down. Like if I'm saying something to her
Gotcha.
and she doesn't understand or she has an obstacle or something with, we always say, hey, so just let us know.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I want her to tell us in the house, so she can get comfortable with, anybody else. Like, hey,
Mhm.
I don't understand that.
Yeah, different doesn't mean wrong. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, no. Well, like Coach Anthony, I know you work in a place where you have a lot of employees. Like for me, I would love to know, obviously, if it's shareable. That way, because I'm more aware. I'm more aware, and I'm looking for the signs, because then that gives me a little bit more of patience, not to treat you different, just to understand, like, oh, okay, there's a process. There's a process,
Well, there's
and
the platinum rule is to treat somebody the way that they want to be treated, but
yeah,
to understand is first have that conversation privately. I
yeah,
mean,
yeah,
if that's for anybody. I mean, I don't really care. Like I've had over 100 employees, so dealing with a wide range of personalities on a day to
yeah,
day is the most important thing that you can do is actually listen to them and see how they function. But ultimately, you get to understand, like, when you're given instructions, like, hey, I can give everybody else the same instructions, but if they say, like, hey, I was like, hey, just come to me one on one if you need some help, or if
mm,
you need me to write it out a little further. Like, it's no big deal. And I actually say that openly, like, so everybody would know. So it's not like I'm singling out somebody to
yeah,
understanding why they're getting quote unquote special treatment, but it's really just saying, like, hey, open door policy, come when you need to, no
yeah,
worries. And everybody knows that. So it's nothing hiding. And I hate the term like hiding and doing secret meetings and stuff like that.
yeah.
It's pointless. But
Yeah, because I work with a lot of students over the past 2 years now, and just thinking of me being a unit training manager, like, man, there's the signs of, like, some of my airmen's and some of my students, like, they have a hard time communicating, and they get frustrated, and the teachers get frustrated, and the directors get frustrated, and, like, wait a minute, maybe, and then, like you said, have a one-on-one. How can I talk to you? What can I do? Because a lot of times it's not just an outside problem. It's just like they have a spectrum, or they're autistic in a way. And some of our students will say up front, and some we kind of figure it out, like, oh man, she or he or they or them have a spectrum or a disability they don't want to share. And it's unfortunate too. Some of them that I've known will drop out of school, because it wasn't addressed or wasn't taken care of at the moment, and the educator is just getting frustrated, and the director is getting frustrated, and the student getting frustrated, and I go, wait, hold on, and I've saved maybe one or two because I kind of understood, uh, you know, the signs, like, and I did 101. Thank God I never got into trouble, but and then those two students that I helped, they like, oh, they graduated and they thanked me a lot, and I'm like, no, no worries, man. I just been aware about this for a long time, so I did this fine line. I just want to know where you guys are at. Or do you rather have them know? Do you rather privately tell? You know what I'm saying? But I know the problem would be, I don't want you to treat me any different, but it's
Yeah.
hard, right? Like, I can talk to Carla and D3 away, but I got to talk to Anthony a different way.
But some things, some people do stuff too. Like if you tell them that your child is autistic and they meet her and they're like, hi, Ariel, how are you?
like they talk slower. Yeah.
Hello,
How are
Dad.
you?
Yeah.
What?
Like this is picture page or something. Come on.
Right.
Man.
Like,
Come on.
what?
What we doing?
Do
How
you
are
see me?
you?
Do you hear me?
I'm like, nah, dude. Like,
I'm not
Come
deaf,
on.
bro. Like, just talk to me normal. Like,
Yeah,
right,
you
right.
looking at them like they're hard of hearing. Like,
That's
you deaf or something?
But and that's
You
the
talk
same,
slow.
right? And that's what the same thing with people with like ESL or something like that, like English as their second language. Like you yelling at them ain't gonna make them understand you anymore than
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
with Ariel, like some people, hi Ariel, how are you? Like she's experiencing that. So
Well, that goes to, like, just like you said, this month is Autism Awareness, and so
acceptance,
yeah,
yes,
we've got Gen Xers and millennials and boomers that they don't understand that, or they don't know enough about it. And so
Right.
this podcast will at least shed some light, and now everybody can go back and research. And go, oh man, that makes sense. Oh yeah, and maybe that for them too. Like, oh, maybe I have a little
And
bit of that.
autism is a whole rabbit hole.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's a whole rabbit hole. Like if you go into like YouTube, Udemy, or
Yeah,
whatever, and
yeah.
you like start searching like autism, you can go to like a whole rabbit hole, and you can look at yourself and be like, oh shit, I'm autistic. You know, it's I'm telling you, like, but it's
Like,
just like
oh, bless your hearts.
yeah. Now, let me
No.
tell you how good she is. Like if I change one ingredient and something
Mm,
in the food and not say anything to anybody
yeah.
and I change it, she'll say something like slick. She'll say something like,
Ooh.
Did you do something different?" I'm like, what are you
Mm,
talking about? I don't know. It just didn't taste the same. It's like either peppery or something like that. Like everything is heightened with her. Like her
ooh.
senses,
So
her taste.
Ariel, can you be the new Keith Lee?
The new, say that again?
Can you be the new Keith Lee?
Keith Lee. You know the guy that did the taste test, the guy that goes around to restaurants and tastes people's food and he gives them a review on the food.
Ooh, I think Ariel can do that.
Yeah, she will tell you if your stuff sucks.
Emotional
which
damage.
has made me I'm a decent cook anyway, but it's made me an even better cook.
But you see where you can say, Mom and Dad can get the food. You come in, Ariel's in the car. You know what I'm saying? You put the video in front of you. You taste the food. You tell the
What did she say
ingredients
about
in there.
brisket?
Like,
Man, I call myself trying a new recipe on brisket. Lord have mercy. It didn't turn out the way I wanted it to. And like I was about to say, she has tendencies of both of us. Me personally, I like details on everything. I have to have details, and I'm sure it can get
Yeah.
on people's nerves. But she has the heart of her mother and real compassionate. So the crazy thing is with me, I was like, I'm gonna try this new recipe. It didn't turn out right. She took a bite like, is it supposed to be this chewy?
Ariel, you're funny. You don't even know you're funny.
It's so lead it though.
You the Cold Stone comedy. That's what you should do. I think you should do it.
You know, Ariel told me one time that she wanted to do comedy.
She did. She should do it.
She told me one time, it was a long
Do it.
time ago, it was like in maybe high school, middle school. She said she wanted to do comedy because I've done comedy. So she said she wanted to do comedy, and I was like, maybe I shouldn't have said that. But I said, so what else do you want to do? You know, but I mean, I always thought she was funny. She's very funny. She's very witty.
I can see Ariel being funny, but has that cold stone, that cold stare face. Like
she reminds me. I don't know if you've seen Wildin' Out, Maddie on Wildin' Out. She reminds me of her, but Ariel says something slick, and I'm like, what's she?
You could be like the female what's the name? Was that comedian with the mustache? What's his name? Oh my god. I can't think of her name. Cat Williams.
There's like so many people.
Like Joe Rogan, how do you have 30 pairs of swim shorts? You never been in the water.
Ariel's funny though. Like
she loves comedy too.
She loves comedy.
So speaking of which, as a matter of fact, let's just change the subject real quick. What is it about pets that you like the most? Pets and other likes that you have.
Good question.
Some people might think that being on the spectrum that means that she might think weird or something like that. And that's not even the case. She has a lot of likes as talents that other people might not find. They might not know about. So just explain certain things that you like. What catches your eye or what catches your ear.
I'm trying to think of how to explain it. I think with pets, Well, first off, like I just really just love. I don't know. I just love them. Like
It's more pets instead of pests.
yeah, like I think it's just like more comforting interacting with pets than humans, really, because like
You think?
a lot of social anxiety with me, and like
Mm,
I guess I see similarities with pets and those on the spectrum as well, being like you have to like understand us in a certain way, like don't touch like a cat here or there, like read their mannerisms and stuff.
ah, that makes a lot of sense. It
The
does.
platinum rule.
But think about it, they can't
I
really speak
got
for
it.
themselves either.
Yeah.
So somebody who might be on the spectrum might be able to relate to them to a certain
Yeah.
extent, speak
And
for them.
and you know, pets, they're like unconditional love.
Yeah.
So
Well, dogs are like that. I don't know. Yeah,
The pug is questionable.
yeah. He got Yosemite Sam tendencies. He had a gun issue.
all right. Before we go to Ariel, I want you to have the last word. You know, I want you to think about what you want to share with everybody. You know, talking about autism and people with yourself having, you know, what you want to be aware. So, but before that, for your last moment, token of wisdom for us, let's go to 5 best movies about autism. All right, hold on, stand by. Remember that Johnny Depp movie, Juliette Lewis, and of course, what's his name? Leonardo
Leonardo DiCaprio.
DiCaprio. Yeah, what's eating Gilbert Grape? Right? You guys watch that movie?
What's it called again?
What's eating Gilbert Grape?
Was eating Gilbert Grape. We haven't seen that
No,
one.
I haven't seen
Oh,
I
you
haven't
haven't seen
seen
that one? That's about autism. Temple Grandin with Claire Danes, Julie Ormond. No?
No.
These old movies. Please stand. Oh no. What's that one movie? The Little Man Tate with Jodie Foster. Rain Man. Rain Man.
I heard of it, but I haven't watched it.
Rain Man was Tom Cruise and oh my god,
Dustin Hoffman.
Dustin Hoffman. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, here's a newer one you might know. The Accountant, Ben Affleck.
Oh, see, I didn't know that he. Ooh, oh, wow.
That is a good movie. Ariel, I'll tell you to watch that movie, The Accountant.
But to be honest with you, you know who else I thought was on the spectrum too?
Mm.
Think about it. Denzel in The Equalizer.
Mm.
Yeah, he was so detailed.
Oh,
Everything he
that
did,
is
he had a
right.
specific place. He always had time to beat the brakes off of somebody. But when he was sitting down minding his own business, he would be OCD slightly and just do stuff
Yes,
where everything was perfectly aligned. He was no joke.
you're right. That
Brilliant.
is correct.
Mhm.
Wow. Yeah, The Accountant. If you haven't seen that, that's a recent movie. Ben Affleck and that one. And you said The Equalizer. That makes a lot of sense. I Am Sam. Sean Penn,
Yeah,
Michelle Pfeiffer,
yeah, Sean Penn.
Dakota Fanning. Mercury Rising with Bruce Willis. Oh yeah.
I don't only remember parts of that.
Alec Baldwin. Yeah. And then of course we have TV shows. Famous people. That and you mentioned one most famous one, the billionaire. 19 famous people with autism. I'm not gonna say all 19, but you said Elon Musk.
Mhm.
He has a form of Asperger
Mhm.
because he is socially awkward.
Yeah.
The way he types stuff, his
People
humor
in
is
the
off.
military, all types of people. The people in the military, you got lawyers, you got doctors, and that's the heartbreaking part is like some people if you tell them that you have autism, they automatically look at you as like you can't think like a regular, like a neurotypical person.
And that's jacked up because you think about it, there is no definition of normal.
Right.
There's no such thing as normal.
Yeah. Wentworth Miller. You know this actor?
Yes,
Prison Break.
Break.
Mm.
He also came out as gay too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Gay.
Emotional.
Emotional damage.
What is it? Honorable mention of
Is he gay? Yeah, he look gay.
yeah.
He's too pretty. Elon Musk, Anthony Hopkins. What?
Anthony Hopkins. But you know what? Listen to his
Asperger.
voice. If you notice like certain traits with certain autistic people, most autistic people,
Yeah.
they have a robotic type of cadence to their voice. He has a
Oh,
robotic cadence.
he does.
He wasn't no joke on Silence of the
Wait a
Lambs.
minute. Jerry Seinfeld?
Mhm.
Okay. He is on the spectrum. So
Mhm.
see, as I'm saying, Ariel can be a comedian because he like his stick is what? He the mundane stuff that's normal makes it funny.
Mhm.
Like little things that normal people don't think about. That's what Jerry
But at,
Seinfeld talks about.
but at the
Yeah.
same time, his show was absolutely about nothing. Just about
Nothing.
nothing. The whole
Daryl
show was about
Hannah.
nothing.
But it
Wow.
wasn't his show though.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Daryl Hannah.
Yeah, like I follow Tony Braxton, I think her son,
Yeah, son, yeah.
and then Holly Robinson Pete. Holly Pete, yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. Daryl
And they're
Hannah, little wasn't that Little Mermaid, but the mermaid
No, she was in a Splash with Tom Hanks.
Splash. Yeah,
you know
yeah.
what?
To the Little Mermaid.
Andy Warhol. Yeah.
Yes, he
I
Warhol. Monica, isn't he I think Monica follows Andy Warhol.
Yeah, we were talking about that not too
love
long.
Uh-huh.
to see it. Courtney Love.
Mm-hmm.
Mild form of autism.
Mhm.
Albert Einstein.
Mm.
Wow.
Why they picked that picture? They wrong for that.
They are. They have to do that
Why was
because
that picture up there?
okay, so people also be like
Charles Darwin.
Oh, wow.
Darwinism. Yeah. I mean, it's
Wow.
Oh, but the Darwin Awards are real though.
uh-huh.
Yeah.
Whoa. What was that? Hold on. What was that? Back up, Bucky.
Temple
Whoa.
Grandin. I don't know who that is.
Lord of mercy.
Isaac Newton.
Mhm.
So are they like just spouting out like symptoms of that back in the history? Like, oh yeah, they're autistic.
That's kind of like what we talked about earlier when just out of the Emily Dickinson, wow, just out of the blue,
Yeah.
you see somebody doing something that you didn't quote unquote understand, then they just lumped everybody together back in the day and just said,
So,
oh, that there's something wrong with them, or they just straight up crazy.
exactly.
Trying to
So,
And
understand
that's the
what's
thing
going
is
on
that
with them.
we gotta get away from is saying that something is wrong with people
Exactly.
because
yeah.
it's not anything wrong about autism.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
and that's
So
like the thing that is hard to get
so
away from. Even like it's almost like mental illness. How you have like a bad stigma on mental illness. They put the same thing on autism.
yeah.
So I
So
mean,
I'm looking here that a number of geniuses are on the spectrum or have autism because they're
yeah.
super focused on one thing that they're good at, right? Whether it
Mhm.
be scientists, whether it be musicians,
Mhm.
doctors, and so yeah, I mean that's not crazy, but it just makes a lot of sense.
Right. And the same thing like with Ariel, she was doing like genius stuff, and I'm just
Yeah.
like, wow, she's doing like this, and I can't even put together 1,000-piece puzzle, and she's like two.
So Ariel, when's your next stand up? I'm telling you, you should be like the Keith Lee. Get mom and dad to get the food, and you be in the car, eat the food, and just tear people up.
We just can't eat anybody food though.
Yeah.
It don't work like that. I ain't built like that.
Mhm.
I just can't give her anybody food either. No.
Yeah, because Ariel would be like,
No, this ain't me. Sorry.
Some of the conversations that Ariel and I have, we be in the car sometime, and we be sitting in the parking lot and stuff like that. If you were like a fly on the wall, you'd be laughing because she'd be saying some crazy stuff, but it'd be true.
You should record her and put it on TikTok.
She's the recorder. Ariel, we call Ariel paparazzi.
You can be area. You can put like questions. You can ask people questions and be, and then not be on camera. You just be the voice behind the camera.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
pet voiceover.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
But she
Hey
also like,
Teresa, sorry. Oh, you gotta catch it back once we're done here. So
Yeah,
Ariel, Ariel. So do you have like any final thoughts and maybe things you want to say to everybody out there dealing with autism, or not aware about autism, and just some words of wisdom that you've learned and experienced?
I guess the main thing is understanding.
We go play the outro music.
Just repeating, like, I think the most significant thing is to understand and do research, like, on your own as well, along with, like, understanding us, like, some of us can really, like, explain stuff to you, but also just, like, inform yourself as well.
And for parents out there who are looking at their kids, what would you say to them?
Yeah, like, don't be ashamed of them or in denial.
Nice.
Like, if you just, like, try to ignore it, then it's gonna make things worse because, like, they're just gonna go through life, like, kind of clueless, like, not knowing how to, like, I'm trying to think of how to explain it.
Like that they're going through life clueless and probably not knowing how to navigate, like what's really going on with them, like when they feel out of place. For instance, when I used to, I would come home and be like, "Hey, Ariel, I'll put you in football or basketball," but why the fuck would you do that?
Yeah, it was basketball.
True story. I brought home some basketball shoes for her one time when we was in Japan. I said I went to the teen center and I said, and they got basketball sign-ups and stuff like that. And I bought you some basketball shoes and I signed you up. And she just looked at me. She said, "Well, why would you do that?" Like, Carla, it ain't about you. But I respected that. Everything I listened, that's one thing you, as a parent, you have to listen to your child. Some people don't want to listen to their kids.
My thing is, but at the same time, listening to them, but
that's
understand
everybody.
you're not having all the answers. They don't have all the answers too. Just be patient.
Yeah,
that's what I had to work on. I had to work on being patient and knowing that she doesn't have all the answers, but see the brighter things that she brings to the table. And I just want to give you your flowers now because we have this house because of what you were going through with us being all cramped together. And she's not able to study. And I'm like, man, what's really going on? The people next door stomping up steps and everything like that too at all times of the night. And she can't study. I'm like, oh, hey, she upset. We upset. That's the issue. And she helped us to be able to just help decide on this house because it's away from all the noise, but at the same time, we can actually bring more rescue pets in, like this one is snoring right now. So, thank you.
Yeah. You can kill people, chop off their heads, and nobody will know, right? In that house.
No.
We don't snitch on air. We don't. No habla inglés, señor.
Oh man, well, thank you so much, Ariel. Man, it's been an honor. I know I've known you since you're little, and you've been always have a nice smile, and always brighten up our day. Thank you for sharing your story, and getting on the podcast with us. We want you on the podcast more often. Even as a sidekick, just be on the side. Add a little humor back and forth. So Mom and Dad will get you a third mic, so we can get you on podcast.
Yeah, I mean, I love her feedback. Sometimes she would be like, "Oh, it was dry."
We're like that sometimes. But I got the juice now. I got my favorite. I got my blackberry crown. Telling you.
That's what I've been drinking tonight. That is exactly what I've been drinking tonight.
This is my third day on this one.
Tastes like summer, huh?
It sure does. It sure does. Oh man. So thank you so much for sharing your story. I mean, we would love to come back and talk about that again. If you have any questions and concerns, please ask us on Instagram, individually, and we'll invite our Ariel. Ariel's always invited to come back. So we'll get you a third mic. If I gotta buy the third mic, I'll buy a third mic for you. But you gotta be on. Even if you don't say anything, you can smile. Look back there.
Exactly. Look at this smile. This is
Exactly. Because if we make you laugh, we got you. It was
That's
funny.
right. Yes. That's definitely the best teeth in the house.
She's our laugh meter. Like, nah, it was
Yeah.
still. Well, thank you so much, Coach Anthony. I want to give props to Coach Anthony. He was kind of like almost one step before TED Talk.
What?
Mhm.
Weren't you like on a what was that? This weekend actually, right? You're on
Oh, you know what? You're talking about. There's several things that have been going on. So there's like Podfest AI conference that I'm actually did a pre-recording for.
Yeah.
So that's coming up on the 19th, the 22nd through the 24th. If you use my code Weaver50, you get $50 off your ticket. If you got on there early, if you were following my platform when I first posted it, you got a free ticket actually.
Got
But it
mine.
went up by good because it went up by $100. So,
Ooh.
so if you miss out on the free ticket, you gotta pay $100 because it's like $150 now. And then I was recently at Podcast Movement in LA to talk about building podcast structure, having a beginning, middle, and end, and how to place your ads in that process, and helping out all the new beginner podcasters that are out there. And those who are supporting me and watching me in this recording, I appreciate you.
Thank you so much, guys. Happy Sunday, everybody. Happy April. I'm like, how many days? What's today? Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I am 6 days away from the big 5-0.
Wow.
Come on in, the water's fine.
Yeah.
Wait, I got
the best, Kid Mango, the best thing about being 50-ish or half hunted, trust me, the best thing about it is understanding that your filter for being politically correct is dirty, and you just go ahead and take it out and throw it away and don't replace it.
Man.
Yep, no filter. Just give it up, man.
I have no filter. I got no patience.
Yep, whatever comes up, comes out.
I got no hair.
Whatever comes up, comes out. Just let it go, man.
I'll be in Japan for 2 weeks. Carla, D3, Coach Anthony, and Ariel will take over the podcast. I'll try to sneak on, but you know how it is, time difference over there in Japan. So,
and he's gonna bring us back some curry.
Ooh, Coco's curry. I got to.
Is it curry or curry? Curry.
Curry.
It's curry, but we'll allow for you, Anthony, because
thanks for understanding. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I appreciate
Teresa's like, welcome to the club. Who's Teresa? Hi, Teresa. All right. Well, thank you guys so much. Happy Sunday, everybody. It is April 14th. See you guys on next week.
Yep. Yes. Say bye to Teresa, Puggy.
Bye.
We hope you enjoyed the show today. Do us a favor and click on the like button or share our podcast. Thanks for listening. Till next time, we are Highway 54.